When you look at this scene in the trailer, you can see these characters looking out at a vista, Pitchford said. In every video game you've ever played, that's a backdrop, right? In Borderlands 4, everything you're seeing is a playable space that you can get to and reach without a load time.
Oh no.
Okay, so did Randy just say what I think he just did? Borderlands 4 open world confirmed? I didn't expect to have to jump back on the microphone so soon, but 2 nights ago, obviously by the time you guys are seeing this, I had been up all night working on my last video, coming off the big Borderlands 4 reveal after covering the project for over a year and a half at this point. I broke it all down Friday, and it was getting later in the day, so I went ahead and tried to lay down. Finally, when I was about to fall asleep after being up for over 30 hours, one of my friends sent me a tweet from an article that drew some signs for concern. So I wanted to go ahead and just break it all down right here, right now. While speaking with interviewer Jordan, Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, of course, actually had a lot to say about the upcoming installment in the franchise. And instead of breaking it down in my own words, I'm going to read it to you first, and then we will break down exactly what I think this means. A new trailer for Borderlands 4 debuted during the Game Awards, providing our first good look at the upcoming looter shooter and hinting at just how big its world, which is seamless, is going to be. The trailer is also a stark contrast to the reveal for Borderlands 3, which featured repeated shots of familiar faces and locations from the franchise. The Borderlands 4 trailer, in comparison, has very little familiarity. Going solely off the 2 trailers, it seems like Borderlands 4 is a cleaner break and a more approachable on-ramp into the franchise than Borderlands 3 was. With Borderlands 3, the idea of going to different planets, it was more compartmentalized. Gearbox Software CEO Randy Pitchford told me it felt a little less open and free. Borderlands 4 is the most open and free ever for the franchise. I saw the trailer for Borderlands 4 a week before the Game Awards and got a chance to then speak with both Pitchford and creative director Graham Timmons, both of whom had a lot to say about the new game. Now, when you look at this scene in the trailer, you can see these characters looking out at a vista, Pitchford said. In every video game you've ever played, that's a backdrop, right? In Borderlands 4, everything you're seeing is a playable space that you can get to and reach without a load time. The interviewer then cuts back in and says, I was quick to joke that the part of the trailer we paused on included the moon, so even if it was cool that we could reach that far off mountain and tower in the shot, saying we could go anywhere in the shot without a loading screen seemed like an exaggeration that they should probably soften in future marketing. All Pitchford had to say was, quote, everything in the scene, Jordan, everything in the scene. So I stand corrected.
Looks like it's time to give up.
Borderlands 4 is able to pull off feats that the rest of the franchise never has been able to, as it's the first mainline game in the series to be made on the Xbox Series X and S and PS5. Part of that is making the world seamless, which isn't a huge deal in the grand scheme of things for video games, but it is unheard of for a Borderlands game. Quote, all of these scenes, every scene, everything is explorable and reachable, end quote, Pitchford said. So, I will say, Jordan, one of the challenges with the term, quote, open world is other games have done different things with that. And there's things that we're doing that none of them have done. But there are things that we specifically don't do because we are Borderlands. And we care so deeply about the combat dynamics, and we care so deeply about the moment-to-moment feeling. We craft this world. Everything that unfolds has a purpose, and you could feel the heart of the designer behind it. You can tell people that care a lot made this shit.
See, now that's some bullshit.
They're putting this here for the player. This isn't just systemic, algorithmically filled world, so be careful when you're talking about this. I wouldn't say, quote, open world, because that term will come with baggage. That isn't what we are. Do you see how hesitant he is to call it open world, while putting emphasis that you can go anywhere and everywhere that you can see visually? And seamless loading, implying that we will no longer see these loading screens between areas like we have in the other games. So if it's not open world, then what the hell is it? Semi-open world? Because everything said here, at least the way I'm reading it, is that they're trying to do an open world game. They just don't want to come out and say it yet. As Randy Pitchford even explained, that he knows that the term comes with baggage. Regardless, you're damn right that term comes with some baggage, and if you don't want to call it that, Randy, well, that's okay. I'll do it for you. Just like I did weeks ago when I announced the date your trailer was dropping days before you did. Borderlands 4 is confirmed to be an open world game at this point. If we're going to be able to fly ships to a whole other planet in the background, then what does that tell you? Yeah, that tells you that it's going to be an open world game. So he can try and duck and dodge around that question all he wants, but the way that the game currently sits, coming off of that media scrum that I just read to you, they are gearing up to drop their first ever full-on open world game over at Gearbox Studios.
I wish nothing but the worst for this absolute loser that just did that to me.
Now, if you want any clarification, just let me know your questions down in the comments below, but I want to speak on my big concerns for this decision to make Borderlands 4 an open world game. Before I go into that though, we should note that this game doesn't have a release date yet, and things are always subject to change. But the way it was worded, it definitely sounds like that's what they're trying to go for, and with the game being in development for over 6 years at this point, I doubt that's something that will change. My biggest worry though is the multiplayer. Why, you might ask? Well, Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3, and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands all suffer from game-crippling lag while playing with friends that result in crashes, or the game slowly begins to blow chunks all over the place until you just have to quit and fix it. And not a damn one of those games that I just listed are open world. While they have some freedom and aren't entirely a point A to B story game, it's never been that expansive, which brings in my next question. If they already can't handle multiplayer on any of these older games, then how the hell do they think they're going to be able to pull it off with the entire game being on one map? In my head, this just doesn't work, man. And hell, Borderlands 1 and 3 have issues in solo even. Memory leaks and the whole nine. That's never been fixed, mind you. These issues are still in the game till this very day. My second worry, if you can't reload areas or bosses somehow, let's think about GTA 5 for a moment. It's an amazing game. Like Borderlands 1, 2, and even the pre-sack is pretty good for what it is. The reason I bring up GTA is everyone knows that iconically long loading time to actually get into it. So why do I bring this up? Well, that is an open world game. So let's imagine Borderlands 2 was an open world game for a minute, and you wanted to farm yourself a Herald from Savage Lee. Well, now that it all has to load at once, you're going to be waiting a hell of a long time to get back into the game between one save and quit. Not only does that make multiplayer even more annoying if it doesn't let your party come with you when you save and quit, but this could essentially be the death of farming altogether, and confirmation that it's not a plan going forward, just like the past few games, where drops are much more common and you're not incentivized to farm, which also doesn't exactly make me happy, as I don't mind having to earn things in my video games. The handouts aren't for me. Maybe they are for you, and you know what, that's totally fine. I've worked for everything I have in my life, whether it be the place I stand in or the video games on my personal computer. I will say that this is at least something different for Borderlands, but it's not exactly the different that I want or I was personally looking for, as a lot of modern video games are trying to go for open world as of late. I personally am getting tired of that trend. Well, sure, it's not enough to make me say I'm not going to buy the game. It's enough to make me just go in with one foot instead of both, because I just don't see how that would work, like, at all.
Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it either.
I pray that I'm proven wrong, and it does work, and it somehow just fits into the Borderlands format perfectly and smoothly, but I just can't imagine it for whatever reason. But what do you guys think about this? Is an open world Borderlands game something that you're interested in? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Because for me, you know, on paper, this is just not something that I'm on board for. So I pray that we get some clarification or indication that this is not a totally open world game, or even halfway open game, or whatever the fuck. As to me, it just looks like another way to get mainstream appeal and maybe a couple bonus headlines, as I've seen Borderlands fans ask for a lot of things over my years of being a content creator, and an open world Borderlands game is nowhere on that list. Well, that's basically it, and I just wanted to also say that I'm finally starting to get over this little cold that I had, but definitely not the best news in the world, like I said. And if you are a fan of Borderlands, that is, always feel free to voice your opinion around here. This comment section is an open place for all people of all parties to let their voice be heard. And I really mean what I'm about to say. It feels like I'm saying this in every video about Borderlands 4, but it's really the truth. I want to try and stay optimistic, but unfortunately, it feels like the more that I hear and the more that I find out about this game, the more my hope starts to slip.